Get the recording started. All right. So tonight, this is week 2, and thank you guys for joining me again. I've had some great conversations this week with everybody as I've got the meal plans out for people. You guys had some great questions and great comments and fantastic opportunity to kind of get to know a little bit more about you guys. And so thank you for sharing. Thank you for being open to conversations, and thank you for allowing me to help you do that. That's just really a big honor for me to be able to help lead and inspire you guys. And so tonight we're going to do a couple things. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen over here and get us started. Oh, and what I was getting ready to say about the internet was so far it's working fine. If something goes wrong and I lose internet connection, I lose all of you guys and everything. So if I go out, if I leave, I will try to get us back on, but you would have to rejoin the webinar. If that's the case, it's likely I'll just record it and post it and not ask you guys to log back on because I don't know what my internet is doing. All right, so just bear with me. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're all set and we're all good. All right, so this is week 2 of the challenge, and I'm going to start off again with this quote. It is my favorite quote, especially for you guys that are just joining us for the first time. For things to change, you must change, and for things to get better, you must get better. And already I've had 2 or 3 conversations with you guys where I've actually said to you, you know, you guys are getting the nice Jason at this point. This is only week 2. I still have to be nice to you. I've got to be friendly so you still like me. But there will come a point where I'm going to bring this back up and say, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. It's not my job. I don't have to get better. I'm doing my work. It's you that has to do the work, and you have to change. And so I'll be nice to you now. I'll let you make excuses if you want. And then probably in another week or so, we'll start working on this little quote a little bit better. And so that's why I bring it up. I want to just remind you guys that it's there, and the Taskmaster Jason will come out at some point if you're not doing your work. All right, tonight's agenda, we're going to review a little bit about what we did last week just to make sure. And that is back to basics. We talked a little bit about the basics last week. We're going to talk about go over the meal plan real quickly. Some of you haven't gotten yours because of several reasons, so we'll cover that. Tonight's topic, or 2 topics, these are my 2 favorite topics because they are the most important things we can do. And this is where I start. Every single person, every client, regardless of the level of exercise, regardless of their level of education, regardless of their qualifications or how a professional athlete or whatever, we always start back at protein and water, no matter where we start. And then we'll end up with some questions and get you guys on for next week so we know what to expect for next week. All right, let's get going. So the review from last week, I started off by sharing my story, and I want to just take a little sidestep here. Thank you guys for the comments, for the messages, the private messages, and phone calls talking with you. Thank you guys for your support and your love and your involvement in this journey with me. The messages that I got back from sharing my story, I share my story all the time. I share it on stage for people. I share it with clients. I must share my story at least 10 times a week. And it never really hits me when I share my story until you say, thank you so much for sharing that. I saw myself in that when I was in college and I was struggling because I was overweight or because I was a chunky child or whatever part of my story resonated with you. When you give that back to me and say, thank you so much for sharing that with me because that's really what connected me, then that's when it gets me. That's when I know that I'm doing good work, and I know that sharing my story is the reason that I do this. So we did that, and then we started talking about the meal plan. More importantly, what the meal plan is not. It's not a grocery list. It's not a day-to-day meal plan where it's got everything laid out where you just kind of plug and play. It's not a calendar, a calculator that shows macronutrients or anything like that. It is simply a one-day plan that we repeat day after day after day so that we make habits, lifelong habits. And that's one of the constants that I hear from you guys is that I just want to make long lifetime habits so that I can stop the yo-yos, I can stop worrying. I know every day how to take care of my body and live longer and healthier and inspire my children to live a happy life. All those things come from just repetitive use of this plan. And so one day plan repeated over and over is the foundation for results. In conversations today I've had, it's really just about getting set, getting stable at a foundation. And then as things change over time, you're going to add things, you're going to move things. Our protein's going to change, our carbs are going to change, our calories are going to change. As we change, we have to be fluid in that. So it's just simply a foundation, but tracking, I cannot stress this enough. You just have to, and what I might do for you guys is just show you exactly why I think this is important. I might pull my journal out and take some screenshots of it. So you guys see, there's not a single thing that I eat or drink that does not go in my journal. And I'm talking, this is, I'm 5 years deep into this process, and every single day I've probably missed maybe 10 days in 5 years that I haven't journaled. Even on vacations, even on a 10-day cruise, I tracked because I wanted to see how much food I was eating. And so it's so important to make this a habit for the lifetime, so that you know exactly what you're eating. And when you ask me questions about, can I have a glass of red wine? I don't know. I mean, yes, you can have a glass of red wine, but where does it fit in your daily plan? Where does it fit in the tracking? If you can afford it, great, have it if it fits. If it doesn't, and you don't know if it does, then I don't really have an answer for that. I can't really say you can or can't. So just every day waking up and saying, what do I need to do that's 1% better than I did yesterday? So, maybe one of the challenges we had with people this week was reaching their protein number. If your protein goal is 120 grams of protein and you're hitting 80 and 90 grams of protein, is that wrong? Is it bad? No, absolutely not. It's great. I mean, that's a whole lot more protein than I got when I started. But what can I do tomorrow that's just 1% better to get closer to that number? Don't beat yourself up for not getting there today. Just add a little bit tomorrow and figure out where you can sneak more protein in tomorrow, or whatever you're wanting to work on to get 1% better than you were today. We talked about these two websites, bodybuilding.com and myfitnessnutritionsource.com. Great sources for nutrition products. Several of you have already purchased products I know that you're using in your nutrition plan. Great opportunity to sneak in some good nutrition, easy. We talked about nutrition basics, what's a carb, what's a protein, what's a fat. We also talked about what they're not. Carbs don't make you fat, protein doesn't make you fat doesn't make you fat. There's so many nutrition myths out there that we wanted to chat about. We also talked about the term diet and changing that from an action verb. I'm on a diet, I'm trying a new diet, I'm dieting this month because it's summer, it's hitting summer, or I'm going on vacation, and changing that to I'm building a healthy lifestyle diet plan so that I can live the rest of my life happy and healthy, and that's my diet for the long term, and how that affects our metabolism. Because our take-home message, remember, says if we fuel the muscle at adequate protein and we optimize that calorie count based on our BMI, your body mass index, with physical activity, and we consume the proper amount of energy, and those are carbohydrates, simple sugars, and things that we need to have fuel to do these things, then the body has no choice but to shed body fat. It's in a non-storage mode at that point, and it has no choice but to shed it. So if we can balance those things, which your meal plan has done, then you should be on track to lose body fat and not waste muscle so that you can be healthier and happier. And then, of course, the last one, the big take home, there's no substitution for basic nutrition and fueling the body according to the desired output. You can do all kinds of drastic things to it. You can do all kinds of diets. You can do all kinds of tricks. I help bodybuilders and models do tricks to their bodies all the time. You see them in magazines and you think they're so healthy, but I promise you what we do to their bodies to get them ready is not healthy. And so we can trick them, and I can help people do that, but to build a lifetime basic nutrition plan requires proteins, carbs, fats, vitamins, and minerals, and it just requires this whole basic nutrition stuff. So don't think that we're going to have the quick answer in some diet program, okay? All right, so this week I had questions about the meal plans, and I want to cover some of these questions because I'm sure everybody's had these same questions. Now, here was the meal plan that you guys got with the welcome letter to it, a little important information, and then 3 sheets for your meal plan. And the first question that came to me was, can I substitute things, or can I switch my meal replacement shake with my breakfast and kind of move these things around, what fits me? And of course you can do it. You can do anything in that program as long as it fits your lifestyle. The important part is that you get a full meal in your body first thing in the morning. And that's the reason that I encourage people to learn how to use meal replacement shakes. We're going to talk a little bit about the difference between meal replacement and protein supplements. But getting a whole meal in your body first thing to give your body that nutrients is so vital. And a meal replacement shake, something liquid that takes 2 seconds in a shaker cup, is so easy. So there's no excuses. So it's the perfect solution to get rid of your excuses that I don't have time for breakfast. You know, Janet's driving in traffic, and if it's dinner time at 7:42 and she's like, oh, I can't have dinner because I'm stuck in traffic, there's no excuse. You can have a shaker cup right there in your car when you go to leave and go, well, I got stuck in traffic coming home from Bethesda, so I need to, or going home to Bethesda, so I need to do my shake on the way home so I don't not eat dinner. And so, you know, learn how to move those things around to fit the schedule and the lifestyle, but make it fun. Enjoy learning how to eat healthy. Enjoy learning how to move the stuff around and enjoy your life. But track everything. If you start tracking, I promise you're going to learn so much about what you're putting in your body and how you're fueling your body. Just a simple act. I was talking to one person today, and she said, you know, she'd been tracking for a while, but she said the thing with tracking was it made her think before she ate something that probably wasn't a healthy choice because she knew I would see it. And she's like, I didn't want you to see that I ate something, so she didn't eat it. She didn't want to have to put that in her journal. And, you know, I'm not a journal police, but if it helped make an alternative choice or do something different, then maybe that tracking has helped alleviate that problem. Now, the second thing that I got questions about was how to account for my workout in MyFitnessPal or my tracking methods, because MyFitnessPal automatically assumes that you want to track your fitness stuff with it as well as your nutrition. So it comes automatically set to track your steps and ask you what kind of workout you just did. And if you put those things in there, it gives you extra calories. It just arbitrarily starts assigning extra calories to you. And those calories are not accounted for in my meal plan. So in the beginning, for right now, if you're using MyFitnessPal, just disable the workout part of it. Go into the settings, take the workout piece and say, no, don't add calories back for my workout, because they're not accurate for the most part. They're not 100% accurate. And right now, your meal plans are set based off of your activity level and your calorie intake and what's expected of you through this challenge. Now, I've talked to a couple of people who are doing a lot more workouts, and their activity level was a 3 on your form when I asked you to put the activity level. And those people might have additional calorie needs that we work through, and we've talked about that. But for right now, don't include your workouts in MyFitnessPal. Just ignore it for right now. Also remember that if you're doing an effective pre and post workout routine nutrition program, you're accounting for calories that you're burning for the gym. So if you're at the gym and you're burning 500 calories in Sean's class, then when you do your post-workout, that post-workout nutrition program, one of the supplements that I've added in there, they're all between 300 and 500 calories. So they're automatically going to offset the calories that you just burned in Sean's class. And that's intentional. That's designed for that way. So don't worry about it. Just do some type of post-workout nutrition, and you're covered for the nutrition part. Don't worry about that. And then the one-on-ones have been so helpful in kind of clearing up some of those questions. So definitely get scheduled for that so we can go through those. Now, I talked a little bit about meal replacements and supplements with several people, and a lot of it is just really vocabulary. We kind of interchange protein shake and meal replacement shake, kind of lump them all together into one tidy little name, and people kind of forget that they're actually two different things. And I want to make sure that we understand that a meal replacement shake is a full meal: carbs, fat, protein, vitamins, and minerals. A protein shake is simply that. It's just protein, typically used to supplement extra protein that you need or used after your workout to make sure you have protein in your body. We will cover all of that during the Sports Nutrition Week, so don't get too hung up on what you should be doing until then. Believe me, there's a lot to know about sports nutrition, and we'll cover that in a few weeks. Some other questions I had, lactose. So a lot of you guys have questions about being lactose intolerant, or should I be consuming lactose, and what is lactose? And so lactose is the milk sugars, so it comes from cows. Our body's not necessarily designed to process lactose, but it's in a lot of foods because it's a cheap sugar. And it comes in the form of whey and casein. So if you're looking at protein supplements and you see whey and casein, They are the milk solids that come from milk products. And those are the two most common protein sources you will find in a meal replacement or a protein supplement, okay? So those are out there. If you want lactose-free options, I have tons of them. I don't drink lactose. I'm not lactose intolerant, but it does affect my sinuses. So if you have sinus infections or you have issues with allergies, lactose is a big cause of those things. So be careful. If you drink a lot of milk, sometimes that will aggravate your the lining in your sinuses. Soy versus soy isolate. This is a great topic, a great question, and I will start this conversation by saying, although I have a medical doctor's degree in veterinary nutrition, I am not a cancer oncology doctor, okay? I do not have any education in oncology. I don't claim to know anything about cancer. So the question always comes up with soy because a lot of doctors, especially women doctors, will say to their clients, don't drink soy products because they increase your estrogen levels, and that could lead to issues with breast cancer and whatnot, especially if you have a history of breast cancer in your family or you have had breast cancer. And so I totally get that. I totally understand that. And definitely if your doctor says you shouldn't be consuming soy, then don't consume soy. But there is a difference between soy and soy isolate. And that's the major difference, the major challenge. So soy isolate is the protein that is attached to the soy plant. And what happens during manufacturing is they remove the protein from the plant matter, and there is no estrogen or plant matter attached to the soy isolate. So if you see a product that says soy isolate, there's no estrogen and no plant material for it to cause any estrogen responses. Now, again, I'm not your doctor, and if your doctor says don't even touch soy isolate, then by all means, don't even touch soy isolate. But the #1 nutritionist in the world, his name is Dr. David Heber. He's the head of the UCLA School of Nutrition. He's the advisor to the Surgeon General of the US. He is the doctor in nutrition. He actually states that a combination of soy isolate and whey protein is the most heart-healthy, complete protein you can have in your body. So even that guy says soy isolate's pretty cool. So I wouldn't discount it unless your doctor is just absolutely adamant that you shouldn't take it. Gluten-free sources, that's a question. I've got plenty of resources for gluten-free. Vegan options, I have a fantastic meal replacement that is pea, rice, and sesame proteins, completely vegan, and it tastes amazing. But none of the supplements that I recommended are mandatory. If you're reaching your goals using what you have and eating whole foods and you're able to get the protein numbers and stay within your calories, and you're doing it using whole foods, great, that's fantastic. I love eating whole food. Believe me, if I could get my numbers without having to drink so much protein, I'd love it. But there's just no possible way for me to do that. So those are great questions. Thank you guys for bringing those to me and sharing those. Hope that answered some other questions. Today's topics are protein and water, two of my favorites, two of the most important ones. And so a little education about protein. So first off, everybody needs protein. Everybody. Doesn't matter if you're male, female, short, tall, big, round, square, doesn't matter. Everybody needs proteins because there are 22 amino acids that are found in these that the body breaks down to use to rebuild your muscles. So when you go to the gym and you're taking Sean's class and you tear your muscles because they're sore, it requires these amino acids to rebuild them. You have to have them to rebuild the muscles. That's the reason you get more fit. Proteins are stored in the muscles and other tissues throughout the body. They're utilized to repair those tissues that you broke down, and they produce enzymes to help relieve muscle tension and soreness, and also other essential enzymes that your body needs to protect itself. It also makes it possible for your blood to carry oxygen throughout your body. So protein is a vehicle throughout your body to make sure your blood can carry oxygen. And a lack of protein can cause a loss of muscle mass. So if you're not eating enough protein, when you tear your muscles down at the gym, your body will actually atrophy that muscle so that it doesn't have to repair itself, and then you can't damage it any longer. So now it doesn't even grow anymore. It also decreases your immunity, and it weakens the heart and respiratory system because remember, the heart is a muscle. So if you're not feeding it protein, it can't get stronger. Now, how protein affects weight. This is a great topic we had today. And Laurel, you were talking about whether you were hungry or getting hungry or not. So this could possibly also be a source of that too. If you're eating a significant amount of protein, several things happen in the body. The first one is it signals the brain that you've had enough food. And so you get fuller faster, and it takes longer for proteins to break down in the body. So you will stay fuller for, say, 3 to 4 hours eating protein. So if I eat 6 ounces of protein and I eat that, it'll take us 3 to 4 hours to metabolize. If I eat 6 ounces of an apple, which is all carbohydrate, in about 30 to 45 minutes, my body's metabolized it, and now I'm going to get hungry again. So it depends when you're doing your snacks. If you're not eating enough protein in your snacks, it's very possible that you'll get hungry very soon after that, because your body's just starting to send signals again. So it sends signals to the brain that you're full. It also raises your resting metabolism by maintaining your muscle mass. So remember, the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn. I gained 35 pounds of muscle over the last 5 years, and I now burn twice as many calories as I did before. So the take-home message, if you want to burn calories, everybody wants to burn calories. We're all here to lose a little bit of this midsection. If you want to burn calories, you got to build muscle. It's the end of the story about that one. Protein also contributes to a slower rise and fall of your blood sugar. Just from what we were talking about, as it sends signals to the body, it takes longer for it to metabolize. Therefore, it's a slower rise in your blood sugar and a slower fall. And your blood sugar is what signals your body to want to eat again. That's why when you haven't eaten in a long time and you get lightheaded, the body sends signals because your blood sugar is falling and it needs food. And so it sends out these signals, usually craving something sweet or something salty, because those are quick carbs with quick energy. Now, not all proteins are created equally, and that's a great thing to think about, especially for those people who are dabbling, I guess, in these kind of fad diet programs like the Atkins and keto, where it's a large portions of protein. I know I've got a client who works using the Atkins diet, and he is convinced that it's okay just to go to Burger King or whatever and just get a double cheeseburger with bacon and just not eat the buns. And he thinks that's a healthy option because that's part of the Atkins and keto diet. But that's not necessarily true, because that's so high in saturated fats, which do damage to our hearts. And so you have to be very careful about the types of proteins that we get. And even things like soybeans, nuts, and whole grains, they're lower in saturated fats, and they're much higher in fiber. Another tool that we were talking with several people this week about how they can get their fiber number up, because they're not hitting their fiber number. So soybeans, nuts, and whole grains are high in protein, low in saturated fats, and high in fiber. So they're really good to add. Lean meats and fish, of course, they're higher in protein, but they have more saturated fats. And so you just have to be careful with the type of protein that you eat. And as I said, Dr. Heber and every major nutritionist will agree that a combination of both animal and plant proteins are the most ideal. However, it doesn't mean that you can't be a vegetarian or vegan. I was clearly vegetarian. I have a bodybuilder who is vegan, and we've been able to work around his dietary needs, and he is huge. I mean, he gains a lot of muscle using vegan proteins. And so it can be done. It's just better for your body. It's designed to eat both plant and animal protein, or plant and animals. Now here's two pictures. The top one, clearly high in saturated fats. By the way, that was basically how I was raised. That's where I grew up, and probably with some fried chicken on the side of that. On the bottom are your healthier, lower saturated fats, proteins and nuts and grains, those kind of things that are healthier choices. Now, dairy is also high in protein and a great source. And of course, dairy includes eggs. So if someone is a vegetarian, eggs are usually included in their diet. If you're vegan, of course, they wouldn't be. But this is, and the reason I'm going to stop here for a second is people say, oh, I had a pretty good breakfast. I had an egg and a little bit of an apple or something. Well, if you're trying to get, let's say, 120 grams of protein, and you're eating 5 meals, 3 meals and 2 snacks, and Laurel, that's where I'm going to challenge you to talk about eating 5 meals. If you're doing that and you're only having 1 egg, well, we see right there that 7 egg whites has 25 grams of protein. Well, I need 35 grams of protein for my breakfast. That's how much I try to shoot for. 7 eggs for breakfast is just not going to happen. I can't eat 7 eggs at one time. It just would make me sick. So that's one of the reasons why you have to learn the other supplements. You can't, well, some people can eat 7 egg whites, but it's just an inefficient way of getting good proteins into the body. Cottage cheese, this is a great little twist. And so a lot of people will use yogurt, thinking yogurt is really high in protein and good for you, but cottage cheese versus yogurt, you'll see here, that 1 cup of cottage cheese has 28 grams of protein, where a cup of yogurt only has 14 grams. Also, what I don't have on here is the sugar content. The sugar content on yogurt is more than double what it is in cottage cheese. So you can do a cottage cheese snack, like a half a cup of cottage cheese and some granola and a little bit of fruit. It's a perfect snack. It's so high in protein that it's a great snack versus yogurt if you're really having trouble meeting those protein numbers. And then, of course, milk. 1 cup has 10 grams of protein, but it's also, remember, these all have lactose. So just be careful if you are trying to stay away from lactose. Now, the meat proteins, clearly, these are, and I want you to look at the ounces. This is a size quantity issue, guys. 3 ounces is a small amount of meat. A chicken breast that you get at the grocery store is likely 8 or 9, maybe 10 ounces, because American consumers want bigger and more and thicker and heavier and fatter. And so we don't buy skinny chickens. We want big fat chickens. And so we get 8 and 10 ounce pieces of chickens. Well, the 3 ounces is 25 grams of protein. So you don't really need that much. So it's a great way to have good quality proteins in a smaller quantity. All right. So those are your proteins there. Now fish, clearly, as I put in your meal plans, really try to include fish in at least 1 or 2 meals a week. I'll make a little caveat about that at the end. But ocean caught fish, you see the grams of protein is really high. 2 things about fish I want to make comments about. One is and this is going to come in a couple of weeks, but we need to be careful with fish that are grown and caught in captivity. And you guys probably hear a lot or have heard the difference between like wild caught versus farm raised. A fish that is raised in farm situations where they're raised in small ponds and forced to grow on top of each other, their life is much more stressful. They're stressed because they're so close together. They're stressed because their environment is not so conducive to their healthy growth. And that stress, the physical stress that we put on the animal, actually converts the fatty acids in their bodies from omega-6s, which are the healthy fatty acids we need, and it converts them to omega-3s. And so they're not healthier. They're not a healthy choice. And so we want to make sure that we're eating fish that's caught in the wild, so it's not been stressed. It's the same thing that goes for any animal that's raised in captivity, which is the reason for things like free range and whatnot. Now, I'm not a big, although I went to vet school and I worked with animals, I'm not a big, you have to eat free range, whatever, and you can't eat this or can't eat that, because, make your own choices. If you don't want to eat, an animal that's in captivity, great. There are plenty of great options out there. Is there a huge difference in the health? There are some differences in the quality that comes from those. So just do what's right for you. But one of the main ones that I really do focus on is the wild caught fish versus the farm raised. So then lentils, beans, and grains, they're all very good sources of protein and fiber. I do eat a lot of these because I was vegetarian for so long. They're a main part of my diet. So instead of eating potatoes and rice, I'm always going to have quinoa or lentils as a side dish instead of potato or rice. It's just the way I am. And so they're all really good sources of protein, and again, great sources of fiber. Then the veggie burger is an option. Also note that there are some cereals out there that are really good protein sources. If you search the cereal aisle, I know Trader Joe's has a couple of really good cereals that even advertise on it, 10 grams of protein per serving. And it's because they're higher in these grains that give you those. And so those are great sources to be able to sneak protein into your diets. With any client, no matter who you are, it doesn't matter if you're a weight loss client, a bodybuilder, an extreme athlete, or just a weekend warrior, no matter what your goal is, my goal is to teach people how to eat protein in every single meal or snack and maximize their intake of a variety of healthy lean proteins. That is the first goal. That is why when I sent it to you, I said, just track it, hit your protein number. Those of you guys who I've talked to already this week, you've already heard me say that. Hit your protein number. Let's worry about everything else later. If I can teach you to eat protein the right way right now, the rest of it will fall into place. And so protein, track it, make sure you're hitting it. All right, so that's proteins. My next topic is on water. And of course, we'll get to some questions when we're done. So if you have questions, just save those and we'll come back if we need to. Now, the graphic over here on water, I want you to look at that because the body is made up of over 70% water. The blood is over 85%. The brain is 80%. Muscles are 75%. and your cells are 90% water. And that means your body is mostly water. It's mostly water. But I know for a fact that we all struggle to get enough water into our diets. We think we're going to do water. We think we're going to carry our water bottle. We think we're going to make some effort on water, but we just don't. And probably even more importantly, we kind of think in our head, well, I'm eating fruits that are high in liquid, and I had coffee that's got water in it, and I had a Coke that has water in it, so I'm drinking water. I'm having water. We're going to dispel all of those little myths and all those little topics because water plays such an essential role in this. If you're not hydrated enough, think about these things. If your cells, which are 90% water, if they're not hydrated, they sure aren't going to give up the fat, and they're not going to give up all the toxins that you're trying to get rid of. They're just going to hold on to it. So you have to drink, you have to hydrate in order for them to want to get healthy and move stuff out, or else it's just going to hoard water, okay? Or just hoard what's in it. So let's talk about how much water is enough. Oh my gosh. Honestly, I read somewhere sometime about, it's like someone drowned from drinking so much water. I got to be honest with you, I don't know how that's possible because our body needs so much water. I don't know that you can, like physically, unless you're just constantly drinking all day, that you can do that. But the rule of thumb for everyone is that you should have between 8 and 10 glasses and 8-ounce glasses per day at a minimum. Now, that usually equates to, for most people, a kind of easier way of doing it is about half of your body weight in ounces. So I weigh 215 pounds, so I need to have at least 100 ounces of water a day. And I drink water all the time. I have my cup here. I drink all day long. I probably have like 4 water bottles sitting around me at any one time with stuff in them. And all of it's water. We'll talk about what's in my bottles and my cups shortly. But just to make sure I get enough water. Now, when you exercise, this is a great little tip. When you exercise, 30 minutes of normal exercise causes your body to lose about 16 ounces of water. So you'll need 2 more glasses of water while you're at the gym. I make a habit with my clients if I'm working out with them. When we do sets, if I'm doing 12 reps in a set, so I'm doing it's like bench press or whatever, I'm doing 12 reps. When I'm finished with that set, I go to the water fountain and I take 12 sips of water. Okay, instead of just going and taking a couple of sips, I force myself to drink 12 sips of water. I use it as a rep in my head. I'm going to do 12 reps of water to make sure I'm getting enough fluids in my body while I'm working out. So that's a good little rule. More intense exercise may require more water plus some essential salts or electrolytes. All right, but I want to make a little caveat about there just a second about electrolytes and salts. And of course, there's a graphic, 8 glasses of water. If you're not doing that a day, 8 glasses of water, plus your 3 cups of coffee, plus your Diet Coke, whatever, plus your 8 cups of water, 8 glasses of water on top of all the other stuff. Make sure you're having that. There's so many choices out there. I got this question this week, so it was perfect tied into this webinar tonight. So many choices. There's juices, and there's juice drinks, and there's fortified water, there's sports drinks, there's energy drinks of all types and teas. I mean, you go to the store and it's just a plethora of drinks, and you're like, I just came to get water. I just want water. What is this and all of this stuff? Well, I have to tell you, most of it is marketing, period. It's just pretty bottles, fun bottles, pretty colors, and a lot of sugar, really, just a lot of sugar. So just be very careful. We'll talk about those. Because the average person just needs plain water. You just need plain water. In fact, the only person who needs more stuff other than water is a distance athlete or someone who does a high-intensity training class where you're burning 800 plus calories. So if you're going to Sean's Megaformer class and you know for a fact that you're burning more than 800 calories, I think it's totally fine for you to have some type of product that has a potassium and sodium replacement, an electrolyte replacement. If you're going in there and you're burning 300 calories, there's no need to have a Gatorade or a Propel or a vitamin water. You're just wasting those salts going into your body, and you're probably adding calories that you don't need. So just drink water. It's totally fine. Water's totally fine. But if you're doing a long distance run or you are working out, I have one person in the challenge said that she's working out in the morning and then she's going swimming in the afternoon. And so over the day, she probably is needing more water, but also needing more electrolytes in her body. But some of us hate water. I have to be honest, I don't like water very well. So adding something small into water to trick your body into drinking it is totally fine. And I have a really good tip. So grape juice or cranberry juice at the grocery store, if you add a tiny, tiny little bit to it, it just takes the flavor away. There you go, Laurel. Drink that water. That little bit of drink doesn't add a lot of sugar or anything to it. It just takes away the water taste and feel for people. So it makes it a little more palatable. So don't hesitate to do that. And then sugar and artificial sweeteners. My God, that's a topic we could spend all night on. But we will discuss this next week. Okay, I will get to this. This will be a question everyone will ask about. Should I be drinking this because it has artificial sweeteners? Should I drink Diet Coke instead of regular Coke? Should I drink this or that? I promise you we're going to get to sugar and artificial sweeteners, and it is a huge passion of mine right now. So I will get to it in great detail next week. All right. Next part of water is learning how to read these labels. Now, that label on the right there is a great example of a very good source of a hydration method. You'll notice that it only has 40 calories and it only has 9 grams of sugar. Now, your body needs sugar in the gym, guys. It needs sugar if you're going to be working out. It needs energy and fuel, but it doesn't have a whole lot of anything else in it. There's not a whole lot there. In fact, when you read the label, if it's high in calories or high in sugar, just keep moving. Just keep on moving past it. Stop looking at the pretty label. Stop looking at the pretty colors and the lightning bolts and all that junk. Just keep moving. It's too high in sugar and carbs and calories. Now, also keep in mind, if you drink something that's really high in sugar, it actually slows down the absorption of water. So that's the reason why sometimes when you'll drink one of these energy drinks or a electrolyte drink, you're actually kind of thirstier after you drink it. You kind of feel like you need more water after you drink it. It's because the sugar actually slows down the absorption. Now, caffeine, you guys are going to hate me. You're going to hate me. This is one of the first times you're going to want to reach through the camera and slap me right across the face. And I'm going to get probably a couple of hate emails from you guys later tonight. And someone's going to call me tomorrow and say, how dare you tell me I can't have coffee or caffeine. I'm not saying you can't have caffeine at all. I'm not saying you can't drink coffee. I'm not saying you can't have it at all. I know as a society we are dependent on caffeine. There are people, my own boyfriend can't get out of the bed in the morning without coffee. I get it. I totally get it. Speaking from my own experience as someone who drank 3 pots of coffee in the morning before he went to work and drank coffee all day long and had chronic migraine headaches that no one could explain, they all came from coffee. Today, I can still drink 1 cup of coffee and I get this weird feeling in my head like I'm going to have a migraine. So some of us have a hypersensitivity to caffeine and coffee. I can drink tea all day long and it doesn't bother me, but coffee will make that happen. So just keep in mind, there's a difference between tea and coffee, and caffeines are not created equally. If you tell me, I've been nice this week. I've been very, very nice and sweet to you guys this week. If you tell me you have to have coffee to get up in the morning and you have to have coffee in the afternoon because you're just too tired, I'm not going to be nice any longer, okay? If you have to have coffee because you're late, because you're tired and you can't keep going, it's not caffeine. It's because you're not fueling your body properly. If it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you start feeling sleepy, it's because you've not fueled your body properly through the day. Now, if that's the case and you feel like you can't move on, you're dependent on caffeine, and caffeine is a drug. So if you're that person who has to have caffeine at these times of day, right? If you have to have caffeine, you're addicted to caffeine, plain and simple, okay? You're addicted to it. You can come off of it. I promise you, it wasn't easy for me, but it happens. You can remove caffeine or at least limit some caffeine and not have it. What I did was I learned that I would treat myself on Sunday to a coffee in the morning while I enjoyed my morning brunch. And I had coffee with that. Today, I don't even do that because it still makes me feel weird. So I'll let you guys kind of marinate on that and we'll move on. And you can send me hate messages later. I don't care. General rule of thumb, 100 calories per 8 ounces or less, anything fluid in your body. So the question was, what constitutes water? What constitutes water in my body? If it's 100 calories or less in 8 ounces, then it's constituted as water. So if you're having tea and there's sugar in it or anything like that, it's going to be more than 100 calories. You cannot include that in your water consumption. If you're having coffee, it's 100 calories. Look at your coffee label. If it has calories, can't include it in your water, okay? If it has any calories over 100, cut it out completely for right now. That's the best rule, okay? Workout hydration. Now, small amount of carbohydrates is necessary for you to keep your energy up while you're working out. Also, and this will come into play, we'll talk about this when we get to sports nutrition, but when you finish your workout, your muscles are craving glucose. They need energy, and glucose is the easiest source of energy for them. So if you go after your workout and you put protein in your body immediately, and you're like, Jason said do a post-workout protein drink. So I'm doing my post-workout protein. Look at your bottle. If your bottle doesn't have carbohydrates in it, doesn't have any sugars in it, your body's going to convert a large percentage of that protein to glucose. It's a funny machine. It can do what it wants to do. It will convert that protein to glucose so that it has energy. You've just wasted your protein. So if that's the case, the protein supplement that I love, my post-workout, has 9 grams of sugar in it. So my body gets the sugar that it needs for glucose, and then it uses the protein to rebuild the muscle, and it doesn't convert the protein to glucose. So you need some glucose and sugar in those post-workouts. So don't forget that. Now, I'm going to take a little side step right here and put a big old warning. If I knew how to make, and I'm horrible at computers, by the way, guys, if I could make this flash and jump off the screen and scream, which maybe I should just jump up and down, this is the biggest caution I'm going to give you. You will see it now, and you will see it again in the sports nutrition section. If you take any product at all that is a pre-workout product, I want you to look at your label, and I want you to find on that label if it has niacin in it. You'll see niacin right there on this label. Now, I'm a big user of pre-workouts. I love pre-workouts. They help me get through my workout. Here's what a pre-workout does. A pre-workout increases the amount of oxygen that your blood takes in to your cells so that you don't fatigue and that your blood keeps pumping and you recover quicker. That's what a pre-workout is designed for. What a pre-workout is not designed for is to make you so jumpy and jittery and itchy and burny that you feel like you're going to blow your head off, okay? But somewhere along the line, the sports industry and gym guys decided that if they didn't feel itchy and jumpy and jittery and caffeinated, then the pre-workout wasn't working. And so the sports supplement industry figured out that niacin, which is a harmless chemical, gives the response, a histamine response that causes the body to get jittery, like combining with caffeine, creates this jittery feeling and also a little bit of tingling. In some people, someone who's in this challenge, it creates a situation where they feel like their heart's going to explode and their face burns and they begin to get rashes all over their bodies. Niacin has no nutritional value at all. It doesn't do anything in your body but creates a histamine response. And when you combine it with caffeine, it can be dangerous. There are tons and tons and tons of pre-workout products with niacin in it. If you are taking it, stop immediately. I'm going to tell you right now, I do not condone it. I have 2 very good friends who ended up in the hospital with heart problems and conditions from having products that contain niacin. Stop taking them. I have plenty of other resources that do not have niacin in them that are just as helpful and get you through it, okay? That's my big disclaimer. Stop using it. Check your labels and make sure. Also notice it's also called nicotinic acid. So make sure you know both of those things. It'll be both of those things on a label. Also, keep in mind too, some of these companies are really sneaky. One company in particular, I never say brand names because I don't ever want to get in trouble with the company, but there's one company in general that doesn't include these things on their labels, but what they do is down below the label, it'll say proprietary blend of this company's products. And it won't list them. It just says patent pending or something out to the side. They're hiding shit from you guys, okay? Just know that. They're hiding stuff in their product that you don't need to take. And that's why they get away with it, because the supplement industry is not regulated. Okay, enough of that. Now, the take-home message about water. You guys are going to be like, what? The color of your urine and the frequency of your urination tells the entire story about the present state of your hydration. Now, listen to this. Dr. Luigi, he's actually a really good friend of mine. He also is a doctor at UCLA. This is his statement about hydration. I love it. People who are optimally hydrated should be urinating at least every 2 hours, and their urine should be clear or pale yellow in color. I'm like, 2 hours, I'm not going to be able to work. But he insists that if you're not using the restroom and not urinating that frequently, then your body is not properly hydrated. So just be careful with that. Look at your daily habits and look at the color of your urine. Believe me, I talk about poop all the time, so stuff like this doesn't bother me at all. But look at your urine. Make sure that it's not dark. Not only does it indicate that you're not hydrated enough, but it also could be damaging your kidneys. So just be very careful that you're hydrated enough, okay? Now, let's see. All right, I want to go back for one quick thing right here. Now, I have just been sitting right here beside me. There we go. There we go. I got a question earlier this week about how to sneak protein into your diet without really thinking about it. And this is a perfect little bridge with these two topics. One of the reasons I love them. So in my cup, which I can't really turn over and show you, and in my bottle back here, and in 2 water bottles over there, there is water and this product. This is, let's see if I can bring it forward enough to you guys. There it is. So this is an Herbalife product. It is probably my favorite product in the entire world of supplements. I go through this canister probably every 3 days. I go through another solid canister. Every serving of this product has 15 grams of protein. It has 70 calories, and it has 0 sugar. 15 grams of protein, 70 calories, 0 grams of sugar. It tastes like wild berry fruit punch. There's another version that tastes like peach mango fruit punch. I like this one the best. I drink it constantly. It is the only way I reach my protein number. I'm sneaking about 50 grams of protein in my body all day long while I'm drinking water. So I'm drinking protein and water all day long, protein and water, protein and water. So how do you reach both of these things, protein and water? You do stuff like this. This is a great tool. And you know, when you're thinking about like what to have and maybe in your work desk where you're like, oh gosh, I need a snack, but I don't really know what to do and I need more water, have this in your drawer at work and just put it in your cup and stir it up. It dissolves right in your water and there's your protein, you know, a little snack and you're just drinking water. Or, you know, you're going to a meeting and you're like, well, I can't take a hard-boiled egg and, you know, 3 carrots in there with me. I need something, but you can always have a water bottle or a cup. People have cups. So you can always put this in your cup and take it into a meeting so that you're still eating while you're in the meeting. Again, no excuses with this. This is a great tool. And I'll post this in the group on the Facebook group so you guys have a link, have information on this because this is a perfect tool. Okay, that's that part. Now, next steps. I'm gonna have to have a little dad moment here from some of you guys. I think everybody on here tonight has this already done, but some of you haven't gotten your wellness evaluations back to me, and some of you haven't gotten your DEXA scan numbers done. So if you haven't done it, you're not gonna get a wellness plan from me, and you're not gonna get any more coaching until we get that. I can't do anything else until I get those things back. So if you haven't done them, get them back to me, and I can get it done. Try to be nice, try to be helpful. You guys got to do the work. So get those back to me. I'll get your meal plans back as quickly as I can once I get those. Schedule your one-on-one with me. I sent out messages to everyone who has a meal plan. If you haven't gotten an email from me to schedule your one-on-one, you probably don't have a meal plan. So that's the first problem. But most of you guys have gotten back to me. We've gotten you scheduled. I did a ton of phone calls today with people. We'll have all those done this week. So thank you guys for doing that. If you haven't scheduled with me, times are limited, and I hate to tell you guys, but you guys are quick. So some of you guys will have trouble getting in this week if you don't get to me quickly. Connect to us on social media. I can't tell you how cool it is to see you guys posting and interacting and being proactive and helping each other and encouraging each other. I know like Melissa, Melissa's doctor told her not to work out and she felt like she should, and she's back at it, and we're like, yeah, keep going, girl, you got this. So, you know, being there to help cheerlead people on is just a huge part of this. That's part of being in a community of people together in a challenge. So connect on social media. Feel free to post recipes. I mean, Laurel, you just made dinner. Post a recipe on there. It looked like you guys enjoyed it. So I'd love to see what you had. I mean, that'd be great. If you have tips that are working for you, or you have questions on a tip that somebody else might find helpful, post it on there, and we'll answer it, make sure. My Fitness Pal, most of you have connected to me on my Fitness Pal. Real quickly on that too, if you didn't share your journal with me, then we're connected, but I can't see your journal. So you'll need to go into the sharing function. It's a setting on your app. There's two places you can go to get to it. You can either go to journal or you can go to share. Either one of those will take you to the sharing of the journal part, and you can select me to share it. You don't have to share it with the public. You can just share it with an individual person. So then once we're connected, you can share it with me. So do that. That'd be great. And any other thing that you guys need. I mean, I want to make it work for everybody. So if these don't work for you, let me know what else we need to do. Track, track, and track. Keep tracking, keep tracking, keep tracking. Those of you guys who have already talked to, you guys are starting to realize why tracking is so important. I can't help you with your numbers if I don't know what you're eating. And if you don't know what you're eating, you don't know how to help yourself. So track some way, method that you can. Rewatch this webinar. There's stuff you're going to miss tonight. I always actually, this is kind of weird, I think, but no matter when I speak or when I do a video, I always go back and watch my own video because I will find mistakes. I will find things that I said that I liked and things that I didn't like. I will find new ways to say things, and you will hear things differently when you go back and listen to it again as well. And something will resonate differently the second time. So go back and watch that. I'll have this reposted no later than Thursday morning and get that posted for you guys. If you have trouble getting to it, let me know. I'll make sure it's posted in the Facebook group and in the Google groups. Next week's topic is carbohydrates, sugars, and fibers. Great topic. A lot of information on that one. There's even going to be a fun little quiz next week with this one. So be prepared. You guys will get to answer some questions and see how much you know about sugar and carbs and fiber. And I think that's it for now. All right, I'm going to thank all the people who watched the video for now, but you have to be on the video on the webinar to get the question and answer section. That's part of being here. So I'm going to stop the video now, and then we will go to the question and answer section. So give me 1 second, I'll stop it. So see you guys later. If you're not